Right friends, welcome back to 17th week, 20th April to 26th April. The important events of the week: unfortunate incident of Nepal earthquake, major devastation, more than 7,000 people lost their lives. In India, Bihar is also affected, but Nepal is the worst affected, which accounted for more than 7,000 deaths. Looking into the other aspects of the week, it is amendments to Juvenile Justice Act. Cabinet clears the proposal. We are going to discuss in detail. Pakistani boat with 232 packets of heroin was seized, and Pakistani nationals, around 8 nationals, were also confiscated. Bill on Transgender Rights passed by Rajya Sabha. This is the first since 1970. I would like to explain you what is the private members bill. The other aspect is Xi Jinping's visit to Pakistan, cementing the ties with evergreen ally Pakistan. And the other aspect, Mohamed Morsi, first elected president of Egypt, sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. We have not forgotten the imprisonment of Mohammed Nasheed for 13 years, who belongs to Maldives. The other aspect is investments through participatory notes, the highest since February 2008. We are going to discuss what is a participatory note. Look into the other aspect. Small public sector banks are to be merged with large public sector banks. The recommendation of Finance Ministry panel. Major changes in the priority sector lending guidelines. When it comes to science and technology, the 25 years completion of Hubble Telescope and Ford Foundation in the watch list, and the United States expressed its concern. These are the events of the week. We are going to discuss the first event of the week, that is devastating earthquake in Nepal. Major earthquake measuring 7.9 on Richter scale with epicenter about 80 kilometers northwest of Kathmandu. All of us are well aware Kathmandu is the capital of Nepal. In fact, Nepal is the friendly country to India, and the nation is also called Himalayan region. Major earthquake of 7.9 on Richter scale struck Nepal. The epicenter is at Lamjung, around 80 kilometers northwest of Kathmandu. More than 7,000 people lost their lives, around 14,000 people injured, and as per one estimate, more than 6 lakh houses collapsed. Indian armed forces are doing what best is possible to the neighboring Himalayan nation, and the most tragic aspect is Darahara Tower, which is the watchtower built in 1832 by the then Prime Minister Bhim Sen Thapa, collapsed. Almost 200 people were buried alive because of the collapse of this Darahara Tower. Several temples badly damaged. World Heritage Center, Darbar Square, was completely destroyed. And Kathmandu and Kathmandu Valley is looking just like a war-ravaged nation. And India is doing what best is possible. Before going into the aspect why Nepal is earthquake prone, I would like to tell you one more aspect. Bordering districts in India, especially East Champaran, Sitamarhi and Darbhanga districts, are also badly affected, and more than 50 people lost their lives in Bihar, and around 20 to 30 deaths are reported from Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal. but the devastation in Nepal is quite large, and the actual estimates of the people losing lives may be known after some time once the total rubble is removed. Right, let us look at the reason why Nepal is so earthquake prone. Before going into the reasons for earthquakes in Nepal region, let us look into the Earth's interior. Earth's interior is composed of inner core, outer core, mantle and crust. Please look into this picture. Inner core, outer core, mantle and crust. The outer layer of mantle as well as crust is known as the lithosphere. That means the topmost layer is known as the lithosphere. It is divided into 7 or 8 plates which are popularly known as the tectonic plates. The Earth's lithosphere or the top layer is composed of 7 or 8 plates which are known as the tectonic plates. These tectonic plates are constantly on move, and around 40 to 50 million years ago, Himalayas were formed because of collision of Indian plate with Eurasian plate. Around 40 to 50 million years ago, Himalayas were formed due to the collision of Indian plate with Eurasian plate. Indian plate, subsequently, Indian plate is moving below Eurasian plate at the rate of 45 millimeters per year. Because of this movement, abundant energy is created and it is released in the form of earthquakes once in 40 years or 80 years. I would like to tell you once again, Indian plate is moving below Eurasian plate at the rate of around 45 millimeters per year. Because of this, abundant energy is created and this energy gets released once in 40 to 80 years. And please remember, Nepal is at the junction of Indian plate and Eurasian plate, and the energy is released once in 40 to 80 years in the form of earthquakes, and the previous worst earthquake came in the year 1934, which measured 8 on the Richter scale, and now the earthquake measures 7.9 on Richter scale, and this earthquake came after 81 years in Nepal, which devastated Nepal, and several countries came forward to help Nepal in this hour of grief. The other point I would like to tell you is the destruction is more because of 2 reasons. First and the foremost reason is the focus of the earthquake. I would like to introduce 2 points. One is the focus and the other one is epicenter. Epicenter is the point on the ground. We have already discussed. The epicenter is around 80 kilometers northwest of Kathmandu at a place called Lamjung. And below the epicenter, at a depth of 10 to 11 kilometers, the origin of earthquake lies, that is known as the focus. Below the earth, at about 10 to 11 kilometers, the origin of earthquake lies, that is known as focus. The devastation is more because of 2 reasons. One reason is the focus or the origin of earthquake is shallow, that is just 10 to 11 kilometers below the earth's surface. The second important thing is Kathmandu Valley. Kathmandu Valley is situated over a 300 meters layer of black clay. Kathmandu Valley is situated over 300 meter layer of black clay, because of which the devastation will be more. So because of these 2 reasons, devastation is more, and the earthquakes are measured on Richter scale. Charles Richter is the famous seismologist of United States of America, on whose name this Richter scale was devised, and the Richter scale is nothing but it is amplitude of the waves. It is amplitude of the waves measured on logarithmic scale of base 10. It is amplitude of the waves measured on logarithmic scale of base 10. Right? So, having learned these things, let us move on to the next issue of this week. Operation Rahat. India rescued 1947 foreign nationals. A statement was given by Sushma Swaraj, External Affairs Minister in Parliament, and as per the statement given by Sushma Swaraj, a total of 4,741 Indians were evacuated from Yemen. We all very well know that Yemen is into civil war, and Operation Rahat is the program for evacuating Indians safely from Yemen, and India completed this operation successfully, and India's Minister of State for External Affairs, General V.K. Singh, led the operation by staying at Djibouti. We have learnt all these things in previous week's lectures, and as per the statement given by the External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj, total 1947 foreign nationals were also evacuated from 48 countries. 1947 foreign nationals, in addition to Indians, were also evacuated, and which is a landmark achievement as far as India is concerned. And Operation Rahat was praised all over the world. Operation Rahat was praised all over the world as India evacuated nationals from 48 countries also. And the operation of General Retired V.K. Singh is from Djibouti in Africa, the nation which is very close to Yemen. Right? We discussed all these things in the previous week's lectures. Let us move on to the next issue. Amendments to Juvenile Justice Act. What is Juvenile Justice Act? Juvenile Justice Act belongs to 2000, and here, as per the Juvenile Justice Act, when the person who is committing crime is below 18 years of age, when the person who is committing crime is below 18 years of age, he should be treated as child only, and the maximum punishment is not more than probably 3 years. When the person below 18 years commits some heinous crime like rape or murder, he is to be treated still as child, and the maximum punishment is not more than 3 years as per Juvenile Justice Act. But this Juvenile Justice Act raised several questions, because one of the rape accused in the famous Delhi gang rape case in the year 2012 was below 18 years. Now, Cabinet cleared a proposal that the persons 16 to 18 years of age, that the persons between 16 and 18 years of age are to be tried as adults, when serious crime is committed by them like murder or rape. As per the present act, if 17 years boy commits murder, he is getting very less punishment. But as per the resolution passed by Cabinet, in future, once the bill is passed, the persons between 16 and 18 years, if they commit heinous crimes, will be tried as adults. A committee will decide whether the person in the age group of 16 and 18 years acted as a child or as an adult. Acted as a child or an adult, and this committee will have psychologist and social expert also. These are the major changes proposed by Union Cabinet, and once this bill is passed in Parliament, the persons between 16 to 18 years of age will be tried as adults if they commit heinous crimes like murder or rape. Right friends, move on to the next one. Pakistani boat with 8 Pakistani nationals confiscated near Porbandar in Gujarat. 8 Pakistani nationals were confiscated. The boat was carrying 232 packets of heroin. You all very well know about heroin. And the cost of this heroin is approximately 600 crore and it is one of the biggest seizures of heroin, and inquiry is on against the 8 Pakistani nationals who were confiscated. Right? Look into the next one. Bill on Transgender Rights passed by Rajya Sabha. Here I would like to tell you 2 issues. What is the Bill on Transgender Rights? What is a transgender? When the gender is different from the gender at the time of his birth. If a person born as male and later on he got changed to female, it is known as transgender. If a person was born as female and later on he got changed as male, then they are known as transgenders. Recently, a bill was passed in Rajya Sabha to create a National Commission for Transgenders. There are more than 4.5 lakh transgenders in this country. In India, around 4.5 lakh transgenders are there, and the bill is proposed to create a National Commission for Transgenders, which will give reservation in education and jobs. We already have National Commission for Backward Classes, National Commission for Women. Just like that, National Commission for Transgenders is proposed, and once it is passed by Lok Sabha, it will become an act. And here one more important point is, this is proposed by a DMK member and this is the private members bill. What is private members bill? When a bill is proposed by a member of parliament who is not part of the union cabinet. When a bill is proposed by a member of parliament when he is not part of union cabinet. Normally, bills are proposed by ministers, but sometimes members of parliament other than ministers will propose some bills. That is known as private members bill. So far in the history of parliament, only 14 times private members bills were passed, because it is natural that only the ministers will present the bills and subsequently discussion will take place in parliament. But there is a provision that private members, that means parliament members other than ministers, can introduce bills, and this is the 15th occasion when the private members bill is passed. Please look into the next one. Compliance of call drops, a major issue in telecom sector. Telecom Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad discussed with the telecom service providers. There are complaints from users that there are frequent call drops. What is call drop? You are speaking over mobile phone. Suddenly it gets disconnected. That is call drop. And telecom service provider says call drops are due to insufficient spectrum. And the second problem is they are unable to provide cell towers at several locations because people are not allowing because of the radiation problems. Especially in residential areas, there is lot of resistance for installation of cell towers because people fear that there will be radiation problems. Several members of parliament also complained to telecom minister that the private operators are non-transparent with regard to the billing. Right friends, look into the next one. World events. Xi Jinping visit to Pakistan. Pakistan is evergreen friend of China. Xi Jinping visited Pakistan. The most important aspect of Pakistan's visit by Xi Jinping is China plans to connect Gwadar port in Pakistan to Kashgar in China, 3000 kilometers corridor which gives access to China towards Arabian Sea and further Indian Ocean. This is a part of the Chinese project of Silk Road. Please look into the picture. As a part of the China Silk Road project, when Xi Jinping visited Pakistan, an agreement was signed to construct 3000 kilometers corridor to connect Gwadar port with Kashgar of China. That means China is aggressively pushing for Silk Road project. Right friends, look into the next one. Mohamed Morsi, first elected president of Egypt, sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. We are all familiar with 13 years imprisonment to Mohammad Nasheed in Maldives. In previous weeks we discussed. Mohammad Nasheed was sentenced to 13 years imprisonment recently. He was president of the country during the year 2012 and recently he was sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. He was sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. The reason is during the clashes outside presidential palace in the year 2012, a journalist and 2 persons died. Amnesty International, London-based human rights organization, is not happy with the development and they stated that it is a travesty of justice. That means it is gross injustice. Please remember, Mohamed Morsi, former president of Egypt, was sentenced to 20 years imprisonment and Amnesty International is not happy with the development. And please remember, Mr. Mohamed Morsi was the first democratically elected president of Egypt. Look into the next issue when it comes to the economy events. Investments through P notes, highest since February 2008. What is P note? P note is nothing but a participatory note. The investment in Indian stock markets through participatory notes is the highest now. It touched almost $43 billion. $43 billion is roughly 2.72 lakh crores. And I would like to explain you what exactly is participatory note and what it means when people are investing through participatory notes. Right, please look into this chart. FIIs or FPIs, previously we used to call foreign institutional investors. Foreign institutional investors. Now they are called foreign portfolio investors. Basically, they are registered with the SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India. All the foreign portfolio investors are registered with the SEBI. They are entitled to invest in Indian stock market. But there is a route. High net worth individuals, hedge funds or some other foreign institutions can also invest in Indian stock market even though they are not registered with SEBI. Foreign institutions, foreign high net worth individuals, foreign hedge funds, they can also invest in Indian stock market if they are not registered with the SEBI. How to invest? These foreign portfolio investors will issue participatory notes, which are popularly known as P notes. these P notes are issued by foreign portfolio investors, and subsequently with the issue of P notes, people can invest in Indian stock market. And here the catch is, whoever the person invests with the P note, his source of money or tax related matters are not known to SEBI or Indian authorities. When people invest through participatory notes, their source of income or other details are not known to Indian authorities. Now 2,72,000 crores is invested into Indian stock market by issue of participatory notes. Why a lot of money is coming through participatory notes? Why it is not coming through the authorized organizations through SEBI or directly through FPIs? Why this money is coming through participatory notes? The catch lies here. Money from India, especially black money from India, goes to foreign countries on Hawala route. Black money from India goes to foreign countries through Hawala route, and subsequently by issue of participatory notes, it comes to Indian stock markets. From India, black money goes to foreign countries through Hawala route, and subsequently by participatory notes, it comes to India. And Indian authorities are not in a position to track these transactions because this money is coming through participatory notes. Here the point I would like to tell you is, this money is getting circulated, and this is known as a round tripping. So participatory notes facilitate round tripping, or it facilitates black money, right? And here the advantage of P notes is it facilitates ease in investment, and the disadvantage is probably most of it may be black money recirculating back to the country, and which is popularly known as round tripping, right? Please look into the next issue. Small public sector banks are to be merged with the large public sector banks, says Finance Ministry panel. Small public sector banks with asset size less than rupees 2 lakh crores. What is assets in banking system? In banking system, if someone says what is asset, asset is nothing but loan. If bank is giving some loan, that is asset for bank, because banks will get interest on the loans. In the banking system, asset means loans. So the banks with asset size of less than rupees 2 lakh crore are proposed to be merged with large PSPs if the Finance Ministry panel is implemented. Recently, Finance Ministry panel says the banks with asset size less than rupees 2 lakh crore are not financially viable. Their non-performing assets are increasing. So please merge these small banks with the bigger banks. These are the recommendations of Finance Ministry panel, and let us see how the government reacts to these recommendations. If you ask me what are the bigger public sector banks, if you look at bigger public sector banks, Bank of Baroda, Punjab National Bank, Union Bank of India, these are bigger national banks. I am not talking about State Bank of India because State Bank Group is different. And if you look at smaller banks, Punjab and Sindh Bank, United Bank of India, Bank of Maharashtra, Andhra Bank, these are small banks. So that means in future, these small banks are going to be merged with bigger banks, if the recommendations of Finance Ministry panel takes shape. Please look into the next issue, Priority Sector Lending Guidelines revised by Reserve Bank of India. Most important issue, Priority Sector Guidelines. What is Priority Sector Lending? If bank gives 100 crores of loans, if bank gives 100 crores of loans, certain percentage is to be given for specific sectors. They cannot give all 100 crores to corporate people and say my job is done. It is not so. If bank gives 100 crores of loans, then certain percentage is to be given for specific sectors. That is priority sector lending. The present guidelines are for all the banks and for all foreign banks with the 20 branches and above, 40% of the loans have to be given for priority sector lending like agriculture, export credit, housing, these things. These priority sector lending guidelines were in existence from long time. This concept was introduced in the early 70s and now Reserve Bank of India came up with certain modifications. I would like to tell you few things about this priority sector lending guidelines because in detail we will discuss in banking lectures in future, but I would like to tell you important and salient points of the changes made by Reserve Bank of India with regard to priority sector lending guidelines. And here please don't forget medium enterprises, social infrastructure, renewable energy, these three are added. Medium enterprises, social infrastructure, renewable energy, these three sectors are added. Previously, micro and small enterprises loans were part of priority sector lending. Now, medium enterprises is also added. For differentiation between micro, small and medium, you have to refer to MSME Act of 2006. There is some differentiation between micro, small and medium enterprises. What constitutes micro, what constitutes small, what constitutes medium, we will discuss in some other class. But here please don't forget, previously micro and small enterprises used to form priority sector lending, but now medium enterprises is also included. Second important point is social infrastructure is also included. Social infrastructure means creation of healthcare facilities, schools. These are all called social infrastructure. Sanitation facilities, water supply facilities, these are social infrastructure. And renewable energy projects. If banks are lending to solar energy projects, if banks are lending to wind energy projects, this forms renewable energy. So, these three were previously not there, now these three are added and these three will come into priority sector lending guidelines. And the other important aspects are distinction between direct and indirect agriculture was taken away. Previously, 13.5% for direct agriculture, out of total 18% was there, but now the distinction was taken off and 18% agriculture target, there is no distinction between direct and indirect agriculture. Other important aspect is food processing industries loans will form part of agriculture. Loans to food processing will form parts of agriculture. Look into the other things. No change in the target for weaker sections. They will be as it is at 10%. Within 18% agriculture, there is a subgroup for marginal and small farmers. There will be a subgroup for marginal and small farmers. From now onwards, marginal and small farmers will have to get 8% of bank credits. 7% is to be ensured by March 2016. 8% is to be ensured by March 2017. That means by March 2017 and from then onwards, there will be 8% requirement of credit to marginal and small farmers. Who is marginal farmer? The farmer up to 2.5 acres of land is marginal farmer. Who is small farmer? 2.5 acres to 5 acres is small farmer. So, this was made separate category and at least 8% of credit should go to small and marginal farmers. Similarly, there will be a subcategory for micro enterprises, and 7.5% should go to micro enterprises. 7.5% should go to micro enterprises. The other important aspect is, at present, foreign banks with less than 20 branches has got the priority sector lending target of 32%, but that will become 40% at par with other banks by the year 2019-20. By the year 2019-20, foreign banks with less than 20 branches will also have to ensure 40% priority sector lending targets. Look into the other changes. There are changes with regard to housing. So far, in metropolitan centers of 10 lakh and above population, loans up to 25 lakhs were categorized as priority sector. Now that limit is extended up to 28 lakhs. Other than metropolitan centers, that means with population below 10 lakhs, previous limit was 15 lakhs, now it is increased to 20 lakhs. Right? These are the major changes, and in micro detail we will discuss in banking classes, and please look into the other aspects. Hubble Telescope completed 25 years. It was placed into orbit in the year 1990. It was developed by NASA with assistance from European Space Agency. It was placed into orbit by Space Shuttle Discovery. It was kept about 552 kilometers above Earth with a speed of 8 kilometers per second. And a pertinent question is, why a telescope is required to be kept above Earth? Why a telescope is required to be kept 552 kilometers above Earth? Because of the disturbance of the atmosphere. If a telescope is kept on the Earth's surface, the pictures of celestial objects will be disturbed because of atmosphere. Because of atmosphere, if you take pictures from Earth, the pictures of celestial objects will be disturbed. That's why a telescope was kept at 552 kilometers above Earth so as to clear the atmosphere of the Earth. That means you will get clearer pictures if there is no atmospheric effect. That's why this Hubble telescope was kept much above the Earth, and it was developed by NASA, and with the assistance of European Space Agency, recently it completed 25 years. Right? Look into the other aspect, probably the last aspect of the week. Ford Foundation in watch list. Recently, Government of India is keeping track of funds from foreign countries. Sometime back, it was Greenpeace. Government of India suspended registration of Greenpeace sometime back because it underreported foreign contributions. Actual figures were not revealed to government. That's why its registration was suspended some time back, and now it is the turn of Ford Foundation, one of the important non-governmental organizations around the world. It is the Ford Foundation. Recently, government kept Ford Foundation under watch list, because if any foreign non-government organization wants to give funds to Indian organizations should be registered under Foreign Currency Regulation Act. If an Indian NGO is getting funds from foreign land, the mandatory requirement is the Indian organization should be registered under Foreign Currency Regulation Act. But recently, some violations were found Because Ford Foundation was helping Indian NGOs which are not registered under FCRA. Ford Foundation was giving funds to Indian non-government organizations which are not registered under Foreign Currency Regulation Act. That's why it is kept under watch list. Ford Foundation was kept under watch list, and United States of America expressed its concern because of the development. So with this, let us conclude today's lecture, and please do join for question and answer sessions. Have a nice day. Thank you.